All right, so this was something I saw um as one of the suggestions on my YouTube page going through the feed. This IQS or Invest IQ's YouTube page. Um, this guy, well, yeah, it's a guy. He's like a foreigner, but I remember seeing this when Patrick Bet David had Roland Martin on this show. And I remember when I watched it, I was thinking like, I'm not a big fan of Roland Martin or anything like that, but I remember thinking like Roland Martin really did kind of school this guy. And in his shows, Roland he's like a slick um, shield for the Democrats. And this dude and Patrick Bet David, and this is my perspective, but to me, just in like seeing different perspectives and different people, you can tell he's not like American born. And that's why people that aren't American born, they always try to, for lack of a better word, like tether on to American culture. Like America owes them anything. You come from somewhere else, America doesn't owe you anything. And then to disrespect the Americans and the people and the ancestors of the people that built this country shows why they country is so fucked up where they come from, because they got a fucked up backbiting mentality, trash mentality, cowardly mentality. This dude Patrick Bet David exposed himself. When I watched this over again, he exposed himself for being a real coward and an Arab sellout. He's a sellout, a wannabe white guy. He got no smoke for no. One thing about these guys, they'll say, "Well, it's not racism. It is what it is, basically." And it's only 5%, as he said. Not really a lot of people, but he don't have no smoke for those 5%. No smoke. Let's get into this though, because Roland Martin, this dude, he showed Patrick Bet David is a big sellout. Then it's too many, not all, but too many of these people to come over here have this mentality because they sold out on their own people, so they don't mind throwing us under the bus. That's why it was like, okay, if you can Monday morning quarterback when we have updated information, yeah, it's not really a good idea to just welcome anybody, especially not black people, when these people will undermine us because they got to undermine their own people. They abandon their own people. And this guy, he actually proved how much of a hypocrite and a sellout he is from this clip right here. Just watching this over again, I'm like, dude, it's so much stuff. We can just break this dude down, and it's just like the people that follow him are trash people too, for the most part. Now, I will say this, like, and I can't take that back. I say I need to rephrase that. I really need to give context to that statement, because that's not a. I wouldn't say that's like a true statement. It's a blanket statement, but I can't say everybody that actually listens to this guy's trash. I'm pretty sure he has some level of expertise that is useful. But as far as looking at him as a leader, he's not a leader because he has a mindset of somebody that would abandon his own countrymen. And a lot of times these people, they use this excuse, well, the government is corrupt. Well, America, they can also agree that the American government is corrupt, correct? And the American government is more powerful than their government. So they're not going to fight their own government, stay and fight, but then they trying to tell you that they're gonna fight our government. Think about how crazy that sound. The outsiders gonna say that they're gonna come in here because they're not really gonna fight our government. Well, they might fight certain, I guess, certain ideologies, certain sides. They say left, right, but regardless if they fighting on the left side or the right side, these are still people that come from somewhere else, from a country that couldn't get along and couldn't get it together, couldn't cooperate with each other and team build and nation build to a point where they would actually want to stay. They're going to come here and bring that attitude over here. First of all, they were, many of them were taught by white people. So the history is going to be skewed. And if they talk about the racist white people, then it's a lot of deception in there because they deceived us as black and whites in America. So, man, this is just it's wild. And then there's still people out here saying black and brown. Black, no, you need to just look out for yourself. Nothing against no brown people, but you just need to look out for yourself. And it looks insecure and weak when you gotta attach yourself to somebody else. That's why I have these not so positive reactions when I see. And this is like this is an obvious case of cowardice by this dude, Patrick Bet David, if that is even his real name. He's one of these kind of people. His name will be Shaka Zulu back home, and then he'll come up here and change his name to John Smith to try to fit in. That's a slave mentality to me. That's my perspective. I mean, there's plenty of perspectives out here. Not saying it's right or wrong, but this is how I view him, and I have my right to view him whatever way I want to view him.
The community, why not? If you care about
this dude, he won't even acknowledge facts. He asked for proof, and that's a weak-minded individual. This is a person that the whole thing is about who has the best ideas, what information makes sense. And when people get too caught up in trying to win arguments, winning arguments is really for entertainment or somebody getting paid to try to win the argument for whatever reason. It's just some people's interest to win an argument, but who cares about winning an argument if you know who you're dealing with? You can argue all day about who's racist, who's not. At this point, it don't matter. You need to look out for yourself as a black person. And then some of this stupid stuff undermines the whole group. These people, they self-destructive and just real insecure. They got toxic insecurity. They do foolish stuff like the one black lady where there's a group of black dudes I think beating up some racist and she jumps on top of them like, dude, you the type of black person that would turn in John Brown. The type of black person is like Samuel L. Jackson. Those people are still out here, and some of them come as thugs, some of them come as lames, some of them come as nerds. They come in all different forms, and they pretending, a lot of them. And some of them might not even know. I don't know. Some of them might be doing it on purpose. Some of them might not know. Some of them program like that. Either way, the whole thing is you need to ask some questions and then get away from the ones that just dumb as hell, basically. And that's not to say I'm the smartest. I do foolish stuff, but the ones that's just gonna mess up something. People that are the type of people that mess up the club.
the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, first of all, does anybody else?
Now listen to this. He said
If
Patrick
you
Bet
care about the
David,
community,
somebody that came over here from Iran. He said he Iran, he Armenian, he something else, like Assyrian. It just people just got a history of just fleeing, basically.
why not stay there and change it?
The thing is, another thing, like, I think some white people, um, they don't view their ancestors overcoming the situation of slavery, having their memories erased, being lied to, undermined, and coming up out of that and still thriving. Is sometimes in some points in today. Not everybody, but enough people. And we're not even that big of a population in this country. But some people don't look at that as something to be proud of. Some people are ashamed of it because they've been whitewashed, and that's the thing. Malcolm X said, basically, if you have your enemy teach your kids that only a fool would do something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but I mean, public school systems ain't all that great, and they don't really teach us a lot of stuff that I was taught outside of school, which was more beneficial. So it's BS to me.
Well,
Now,
first of
Patrick
all,
David said, "Why don't you stay and fix the community?
If you care about the community,
If you
why
care
not stay
about the
there and
state."
change it?
well,
Now he don't care, and then a lot of people actually in the comments kind of picked up on that too. Because it says, "So here's my thing: doesn't the same apply to Patrick Bet David too? Shouldn't he also have stayed in his country to to find it? Well, I think he means fix it up instead of running here to make his wealth." This clown disgusts me. Yeah, I mean, and there was a couple of people that said that. Why didn't he stay in Iran? Like, dude, take your ass to Iran, and other people to think like you, that to wave these foreign flags, but got stuff to say about black people specifically in this country when black people specifically in this country have done a whole bunch, and black people was able to contribute to this country in ways that you never will be able to. And then you leave your country of origin, flee here, and then got the nerve to, how undermining is that? Like, he's an underminer. He doesn't do anything special. He sells insurance and talks. It's black people that have changed the world. This dude, he won't even go back home and fix up where he from. He won't even give his people the game. Then he's about, well, does he live in a Syrian or Iranian or you know, does he live in one of those neighborhoods where it's only them? No, he doesn't.
If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
well,
If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it? Roland should have asked him the same thing. But Roland, like I said, I don't agree with Roland on some things, but I'm the kind, or Patrick Bet David, but I'm the kind of person that's like, I need to listen to different perspectives, and I need to be able to have an objective view, or be able to handle any objective reality. And Roland, he actually blocked me on Twitter because I kind of just commented on something that I think the Terrence dude, that's a Trump supporter, kind of called him out, which was true. Roland Martin is his shield, and I guess Roland Martin didn't like that. I don't know, but that don't mean that I can't learn something from Roland Martin.
well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't?
And this
If you
other
care
thing,
about
like, these guys, they resent us as black people sometimes, as black Americans, when they not really, a lot of them. I'm not gonna say none of them, but this guy, he's a salesman kind of guy. He do that white folks corporate sales corny stuff that works on some of the white folks when you selling to them and to other people. But this not no real like street stuff. This Roland got a little bit of, Roland hanging around black people or grew up around slick talking black people. The other thing about Roland, though, I will give him credit. He seemed like he the kind of person that really studies. Cause this guy, like this dude, Patrick Bet David is a lightweight. Like I said, he's like this, like Dream Team '92, and this is like Iran or something like that, or Syria or whatever, Armenia. At this right here, mentally, he really couldn't do nothing with him. But the people that will watch him, they don't. It seems like they don't really care, or they don't realize that, or I don't know. Because if your man's can't answer the direct question, and when your man's asks for proof, and then you give him the proof, and then he wanna dance all around the proof and say, "I don't want to believe it." It's not about what you believe, and then they talk about facts over feelings. But Roland gave him the facts, and he like, well, I don't believe the facts. Well, then shit, anything. Who cares about anything then? If you, I don't believe what you say, so you wasting my fucking time. But the whole thing is, it's an insult because this dude is a foreigner coming over here talking bad about black people when he can't hold a candle to no black people. Of course, maybe I'm not saying that anybody is better than anybody. I'm just saying, first of all, morale, character, integrity. This dude is trash.
About the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well,
From that statement right there, everybody who watched this guy need to be asking, well, shit, dude, get your ass back. Why you don't? Well, you know, because he already answered his own question. He don't care about his community.
If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
But wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think?
Exactly, white people move from other white people. So wait a minute,
Move. How do you think suburbs were created?
But wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created?
But
so everybody else get to move, but we can't move.
But if you act like you care about the community
No,
as much
guess
as
what?
you do, stay
but
there.
But I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious? The reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Okay,
I'll give you an idea. Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Seriously.
In today's video, Roland Martin absolutely goes off on Patrick Bet-David in a heated debate about discrimination against black families.
So this is the foreign dude that decided to, make this video, and I'm glad he did. I'm gonna skip some of the stuff he said, but he does make some good points.
Kind of scrambling to deny it with facts, and you'll see Patrick Bet-David kind of scrambling to discrimination against black families in America. Ronald's bringing in the facts, and you'll see Patrick Bet-David kind of scrambling to deny it with his own logic, but honestly, it's not landing.
He can't deny it with logic. He's trying to rationalize it because because the logic is the logic. you ask for numbers. He gave you the information and the numbers. It didn't. I don't believe it. Well, if it's true, then what? And he talk about fix it. Well, you fix it. Take your butt back to Iran and go fix it.
It's pretty wild to see PBD in this position on his own show. Now let's check out how Roland Martin annihilates Patrick Bet-David on his own show.
Yeah.
Do you even know today? We've done the stories in Florida. When somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black. You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one.
Now look at that. He didn't answer the question. When a person is not willing to answer a direct question, they typically are trying to be deceptive, and or the answer would not fit their narrative, and it will make them. It may make them look bad. So he asked him the question. He won't answer the question, and then he tried to minimize it and just say, "Well, it's just one story." When we know it's more than one story, and he's bringing that up as the reason, but he wants to. It can't with these people. What I noticed, even though the white racists, they live in such denial. They so insecure. They so passive aggressive. Because passive aggressive is like a mental disorder. It's like when the girls try to jump double dutch and they waiting outside to jump in. Because they really don't have the confidence to just come out and say what they say, what they want to say. Because if they there and it's opposition that they feel is greater than or equal to, they won't do anything.
You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think how many occasions have on how many occasions?
But that is racism, because you know what? This dude right here, Patrick Bet-David, he's not going to do nothing about racism. He don't want to fight racism. He already done bowed down.
has that happened?
That's what I'm saying. To try to push for people like this to come over here don't really help Black Americans, because he's just gonna go. Because if you got to pick a side, he's gonna go over to their side, and he's gonna be a flunky because he don't see himself. Oh, I don't know how he see himself. Let me not say that. But to me, when I see this, I mean, if you're not willing to challenge somebody, then I'm guessing you're afraid of them. In that context, I mean, he can have extreme respect for somebody also, but I guess I would just say, because I don't want to, because I don't know what this guy's thinking. But for me, when I see this kind of action, some of the people that come over here, we know they sell outs. And what he say in his actions, he kind of fit that criteria. And I don't need to see nothing else. That's what he gonna be for me until I'm pleasantly surprised when I found out I'm wrong.
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
Okay, why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and
Like
Google?
that,
Okay, why don't you go ahead and Google?
anything but
Are you
answer the right
serious?
question.
do you think a
You not?
Are you serious?
Hey, look, man, you can't.
That
You can't just be out here. I'm from the inner city. You can't just be out here talking about and somebody asks you direct questions or something when stuff we can talk like money and stuff like that, and you can't answer a direct question. That'll get you real hurt. And I don't understand why these people like just let. I guess they just. I don't know. People seem like they just used to just people lying and making up lies and just going around and wasting time, because you got to get to the point with the when it comes to stuff like this, because it's too late in the day to try to convince people when you just if it is racism, if it is true, then what? Are you gonna do anything about it or not? And then put them in the category when they be categorized as.
are you serious?
do you think a message like
Okay, why
And this guy for me is in the sellout category.
are you serious?
do you think a message like
Okay, why
Sellout meaning somebody that's willing to undermine Black people and or don't really like the success of Black people, because this dude and many with his mindset, they'll talk about Black people, but they really don't want to see Black Americans do better, because if Black Americans could do better, then there's no excuse for them to even be over here. If we can succeed in the country where we were enslaved in, and they can't even succeed at home, and they run from their home and they won't build it up, they don't even go back to build it up. They say they American, but then they wave other people's flags. So you this double-minded folks, man. It's a con. They, I won't say they freeloading, but it's like a freeloader mentality where it's like, you know what it is? They lack humility, because it's just like, you know what, they should say, yeah, they don't really believe in a fellow countrymen. Yeah, they don't think that it's gonna get turned around. No, they don't think that they can be a positive force to help turn it around. Yes, white people built up America in their mind. Yes, or even Black people. We know Black people built it too. But you know what? Um, you know what? You guys did a fantastic job. We can't do no better. Can we just contribute? Because I really don't want to. I really don't like those people over there. That's really what they should be saying.
don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many times has that happened? No, I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did.
How many times it happened? It don't matter how many times it happened. If it happened to me once and I'm getting discriminated against, then it's not right, and you wouldn't want that to happen to you.
It's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times.
They want bad stuff to happen to us, and they don't want it to happen to them, and they want us to just accept it or quit crying. Because the big thing is, when they come over here, Swami Vivekananda even talked about this. They know, even back in his time, they know that they can come over here and throw Black people under the bus, and that will put them in a position where they're not going to be picked on as much, as long as they fall in line and throw us under the bus.
Literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see racism that
He don't have
exists.
no comeback. He just
in Google.
How many times?
He
Why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many
like
times
a
has that happened?
possible-
I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a
has no
story
quick comeback
talking
to, like,
about the systemic racism that exists
this
within
Roland,
housing
Roland is a
appraisals.
quick talker. He a real fast talker dude, and like I said, this guy he really like. This like one of those things out in nature where one of these animals think they got like an easy target and then they wind up and get maimed, and that's what happened to this dude.
This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see you're
Because he see just Patrick Bet David, dude. He really don't understand it. He really is not from the roots of America, like generational wise. So he really don't understand a lot of American culture like that. You got to be like brought up in this black, white, you know what I'm saying? You got to have generations of this to understand things and to move a certain, you know what I'm saying? Like it's certain. He just he don't have.
You're living in a different reality.
He learned sales. He was able to learn sales techniques and soft skills, but as far as some of this other stuff, this deep rooted stuff that you gotta be in the mix to know, nah, he ain't really that.
What progress are you making by saying that? So
He said, "What progress are you making by calling out racism, systematic racism?"
You're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Okay. Do you know how inherent?
So Roland's saying, "I'm trying to end discrimination," and he said, "What progress are you making, even calling attention to it?"
I'm trying to see. You're living in a.
This is another thing with some black people I noticed too. Like they'll argue with white people. Come on, you just don't get it about your privilege. You just don't get it about racism. It's not in their best interest to get it. These are the people that created racism. You think they don't know how it works? Man, like trying to win that argument is a waste of time. Like, trying to get these people to see that they being racist, like it's not even in their best interest to do that.
Different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Okay. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. See, you're living.
But how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see. You're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that.
Okay.
I don't know if he tried to remember something, if he has some if he has some stuff predetermined. I don't know, man. But this is bad because he trying to think of something. He ain't answering no questions. He just trying to move out the way, and he looked pretty stupid here.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to.
Black folk, after really seeing this, I didn't really even like. I was like, "Yeah, this dude a fraud." When I seen this, and I did say, "Yeah, Roland cooked this guy." But looking at this, like, dude, this like as a black person, this is such an insult for this dude to come over here and be saying this stuff, and to act like he give a damn about black people. To me. I mean, that black person, I don't say that. I'll just say, I don't know. They need to maybe look at this guy's character.
No, I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see. You're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern,
I
right?
am, yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know,
right?
And you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
right?
And they see your family, and then they go back and they go, and they go, and they see your family, and then they go back and they go,
you got to take a deep breath.
350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000,
and they go 350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that's happening.
He said, "You tell that story." Look at he's basically like disregarding some black people's experience. As a black person, yeah, there's some things that happen where we get discriminated against, no doubt. Even white people will say that. So for this guy to just say, "Well, that's just one incident," and basically, why even bring it up? Yeah. That's what you got to do to stay in to keep from going back.
Wait, one second.
It must really be bad over there.
People to be convinced that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen?
You want to pull that up? You want him to pull that up?
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God!
So he say, how many times does it happen? And then Roland say, well, it's a significant issue. And then he like, oh yeah, right. Basically, oh my God, no way.
How many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant.
The whole thing is to deny. Because, like I said, even it's been examples of black people having prosperous places and white folks coming in and sabotaging it. So it's not a matter of if black people can succeed in this country, if they can have prosperous neighborhoods. We all know that have a little bit of knowledge outside of school.
Issue in America.
Oh my God!
And wait, one second. And then when the woman takes
you know what? That's the other thing too. Like that's why we can't rely on them the white people to teach black people, because they're not going to tell us the truth. They're not going to tell a story the way it need to be told, and it's not really in their best interest to do so anyway if they want to continue racism.
A black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. So one second. No, I'm going to show you how it's actually 550. So one second. I'm going to show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
To have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. So one second. I'm going to show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
So when you follow me
here we go.
It's actually 550. So one second.
What's the difference between this dude and the racist white person that don't want to hear about racism? There's no difference.
Second, I'm going to show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
So when you follow me here, because this is housing discrimination in America. When you then get that lower appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what
he actually upset that he's hearing this. Or he looks upset to me. I don't know. He looks very uncomfortable and upset that he's hearing this.
Not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in unity world. That for some reason you're like living in Unity World that ain't the real America.
Brother, you are
For some reason, you're like living in Unity World that ain't the real America.
brother. You
And
have
I'm
the
trying.
Now he's telling Roland, who was born in America, basically, you don't know what you're talking about. And he's an immigrant who's taught by white people. And he's telling us about what really goes on in this country. Like he's in the black community like that.
trying
wrong
to
guy.
get rid of that stuff.
You have the wrong guy here.
As loud and annoying Roland Martin can be, he's absolutely right. The numbers show that homes in black neighborhoods are appraised 23% lower than those in white neighborhoods, which adds up to around $156 billion in equity. Patrick Bet David brushing this off like it's not a big deal doesn't hold up against the facts Ronald Martin's throwing down. This issue is real and it's hitting families where it hurts the most.
You have the
I'm
wrong
trying to
guy.
get rid of it.
Okay, good for you. I am as well. But you have the wrong guy here.
He said he
And
is
here's what I
well.
mean by that.
How so?
I am
He
as
should
well. You
ask
have the
him how.
wrong guy here. And here's what I mean by that. So when you ask the question, what do you do
One
if
thing about the Tim, I think it was Tim Black. I saying he was saying like one thing these foreigners try to do is say, "Well, my parents came over here with nothing." But if your parents came over here with nothing, they had to get some kind of assistance because they came over here with nothing. Then you're not just gonna get an apartment with nothing. So unless they was living with somebody, like friends or relatives, then they got some kind of assistance. I've seen foreigners with them EBT cards at the store, so they get assistance. They get housing assistance. They get food assistance. They get job assistance. They get all kind of assistance. Assistance for clothes, furniture. Get out of here. It's a hustle game. But it's so the reason it's so treacherous, you can't trust people like that is because they will talk trash about black people. Like black people lazy and it's black people doing great stuff all the time to this day. So right, just like yeah.
by that? So when you ask the question, what do you do if they appraise your house $350,000 less? Right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking myself as a victim a long time ago.
What does it have to do with being a victim? If you are white and then you realize that I'm black and you don't want to give me the proper amount that I should be paid for the property, but you'll pay somebody else that is white the same amount that they asking that I'm asking, and you want to pay them the higher price, but you won't pay me the price that I want, then that's a problem. And if it's going on like on large numbers and systematically, then yeah, that's an issue. Because he talked about appraisers. That's a business. That's systematic. That's a cultural thing, and that's messing with people's money.
Dollars less, right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian in a
If you're not a victim, then there should be no excuse why you shouldn't be back in Iran fixing it up.
you know what a lot of people
They got a lot of excuses as to why they won't go back.
Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of
He said he's raised with that.
they sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement you do. They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland. Oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example, to divide and get people even angrier.
Now, when they say that divide word, that's like a word they love to say. But these people are sick mentally. They live in perpetual denial and anxiety. They say, and it's almost like a projection because they say, well, it's divisive. Well, you don't like me anyway. You don't help me. You don't want to see me do good. So, yeah, we should be divided, in my opinion. Now, we are supposed to be civilized, so we should be cordial and do business if we need to do business. But, I don't need to have a beer with you.
To divide and get people even angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals, this happened one time.
He said give people
because out of
angrier.
1,000 appraisals, this happened one
The
time.
racist. Like, hey, we don't want you talking about this. It make us feel bad. It weighs on our morality.
Angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals, this happened one time. I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But going back to it. So you left because you wanted better
I don't think you
because
unify. This word unify, like, I hope black people kind of get out of it. We don't need to unify with every black person. I don't like every black person. Every black person ain't worth unifying with. White people aren't unified. Only thing they all agree that they should probably be in the top position status wise. Other than that, they're not all unified. We need to definitely you need to be unified with the people that's actually productive and is actually going to be able to get stuff done. Trying to convince people over and over again to do something and they don't want to do it is basically has been holding black people back for too long.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, this happened one time.
You only need a few percentage to do something, and then the other ones to hop on board because nobody really want to be left behind. Now, the ones that may feel they're going to be left behind may try to sabotage us, what sometimes it's folks like that do try to do. That's why you got these haters doing what they do, coons doing what they do. Like I said, and people that might not necessarily be considered coons, but if you a hater and you'll stop black progress, then yeah, that's a coon. Whether you say somebody date outside the race or talk this way or that away, that's a coon. To me, people that undermine black progress, people that don't like to see black people do good, and people that hate on black people.
I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But
I don't think you unify by even talking about racism or having to complain about it. That's how I perceive that statement.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, this happened one time. I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But going back to it. So you left because you wanted better economic situation for yourself.
Listen to what you just said. Again,
I'm having a hard time listening to what you just said when you're saying
it's so fundamentally flawed because when you say, "Oh my God," you see yourself as a victim.
You do.
No,
you're selling it as a victim.
No, I'm not. What I'm selling is a reality. What I'm selling is when this is again. Since you didn't, I guess you couldn't pull it up. Okay.
Oh, he did pull it up.
Okay. The Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency, released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time.
Let me rewind that real quick. And I apologize because he's about to release these numbers. But I had a thought. This guy, Patrick Bet-David, he might be one of those guys that think he's smarter than every black person. It's people like that.
The Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency, released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between
47
Federal Housing and Finance Agency released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry. 21 present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit.
Administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency released 47 million appraisal reports. Actually, no, I'm not. What I'm selling is a reality. What I'm selling is when this is again, since you didn't, I guess you couldn't pull it up. Okay.
Oh, he did pull it up.
Okay, the Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency released
Federal Housing and Finance Agency. So he don't believe their numbers.
these 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit.
You know what else is bullshit though? You not hitting.
So he don't like the facts. And he got his beady eyes now.
You know what else is bullshit though? You not hitting that subscribe button. So if you've enjoyed this video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's get back to this heated debate.
You know why?
Hold up.
Let me tell you why that's such bullshit.
They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion
First of all,
the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course
These guys be notorious hypocrites. Because again, the whole thing is haters really don't like to give credit. They're not gonna just say, you know what, yeah, we really wouldn't want to see black people do good. That really would make us feel jealous and bad about ourselves.
Data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you call it bullshit.
When
of course,
they'll let they don't mind seeing LeBron or one-offs here and there. It's the group, like, where it's like anything over 50%, 51% of black society doing very well and prosperous. They don't want to see something like that. It'll mess with them too much.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you ask for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion because you don't like the facts.
Bro.
He said the data and the facts, and now he give his opinion because he don't like the data and the facts. Which is, look like he checkmated him.
And show the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give.
Of course he call it bullshit. I don't want to believe that. I don't know. It just seemed like he don't want to believe that.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion because you don't like the facts.
Bro.
Come on, man.
You run a company
for the data and the facts.
No.
Like the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion because you
look. Listen to this guy
and show the data. They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion because you don't like the facts.
Bro.
Come on, man.
Do you run a company?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you run a company, how much shit can I find in the OPEX? How much
in the what?
With OPEX. When I go into my balance sheet and I look at my expenses, my monthly expenses, what I'm paying for, rent, employees, benefits, workers' comp, I can give a number and say, we lost $280,000 this year. And it's like, oh my God, we lost $280,000. And then I open up the balance sheet and then boom, I'll see you're moving your face like you don't know what I'm talking about.
First of all,
when I see a data like this, tell me the whole story. To jump to conclusion with something like this without seeing the entire story is ludicrous to make a comment like that. But
analyzing the millions of appraisals by using census tracts as a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock, two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. They compared similar data. See, again, you analyzing
and this is a guy who will stand by racist. So he gonna be around racists and act like all the racists is cool with him. knowing that he know that it's a percentage that can't stand him and want him gone too. But the thing is, he'll do anything not to go back to Iran.
The millions of appraisals by using census
Break it
tracts
down for
as
me.
a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock.
Yeah.
He's actually upset.
Break it down for
as
me.
a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock.
Yeah.
Two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. They compared similar data. See, again, you want to reject the facts. And what I'm trying to explain to you is
I am refusing to constantly have people give data without me having access to the entire thing for their own benefit to divide
So
it.
what you're saying is, in order for you need access to the 47 million home appraisals.
I'd love to
for
see
yourself.
It. I would love to see it.
Okay, guess what? It's a federal agency. File for
I'd
you.
love to see it.
5 million home appraisals.
I'd love to
for
see
yourself.
it. I would love to see it.
Okay, guess what? It's a federal agency. File for you.
I'd love to see it.
File for
but
you.
Here's follow what?
For you.
Okay, so I'd love to see it. You know why? Here's the part. How often
did he
would love to see it?
Okay, guess what? It's a federal agency. File for you.
I'd love to see it.
File for
but
you.
Here's follow what?
Is there any information or evidence that Patrick Bet-David can see that would make him admit that institutional racism or systematic racism exists? That's my question. And I would say no.
For you.
Okay, so I'd love to see it. You know why? Here's the part. How often do you see data being used and we don't know the whole story?
Because the other thing is, okay, if you have Patrick Bet-David say, yeah, systematic racism exists, okay, if he's not going to do anything about it anyway, and he's going to help the racist anyway, what's the point? Except if you just dispose of this guy.
Both sides.
Oh.
But that's just my question.
How often?
Well, first of all, we see data out there, but what I'm saying, I'm looking at data, actual data.
I love how Patrick Bet-David just refuses to accept the fact and keeps trying to out-logic the solid points Ronald Martin is making. I found this pretty wild story about a black couple in California who had their home appraised at $995,000. But after they removed family photos and had a white friend pose as the homeowner, boom, the second appraisal came back at around $1.5 million.
Dang.
That's
Well, I guess
back
what you got to
at
do,
around
black people.
$1.5 million. That's a $500,000 jump. Now, it's not officially confirmed that race was the reason, but let's be real, it's hard not to connect the dots. We don't have the exact number of black families affected by this, but it's clearly a problem that deserves attention. Ignoring it or just brushing it off isn't really the answer, no matter how much Patrick wants to argue otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking at a reality. And here's what I'm saying to you. And again, this is what you, for some reason, you're not fully accepting. What is the most consistent way Americans have been able to actually build wealth? It has been through housing. That's been historical. And when you are black in America, this is not an opinion. This is not a perspective. It's a fact. What we have seen is when you have been unable to enter the housing industry, meaning covenants saying you can't sell to black people, then when you actually buy a home and they've been grossly undervalued, that then limits you from being able to sell your home at a higher value and now take the profits and then create a business and then be able to send your kids to college. And what I'm saying to you is when that has been persistent, when you look at the appraisals, one, when you look at inability where you're buying a house, two, all of a sudden now you see a clear way how African Americans have been impacted. Not historically, but still in present day. And what I'm saying to you is, whether you are Democrat or Republican, I want that to change.
Honestly, I think Ronald Martin made some solid points throughout the whole debate. He backed up his argument with real facts. Now, Patrick Bet David did bring up some fair points too, like how the government should release the exact numbers of black families affected by this. But even without that, it's pretty clear this is a very serious issue that's impacting a lot of black families in America. But this is it for today's video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure.
All right, so let me just go back. Man, I saw this today. I was just like, man, I gotta, I gotta actually kind of do a little, I guess what do you call this? Not necessarily a post, but I guess just like do a podcast or whatever. I think is remember who's teaching these people history. They whitewashed. Even if we tell them something, they're not gonna believe it because it's black people like that too, and non white people. You get black immigrants and black people and black Americans. They won't believe it either. They don't believe a lot of stuff unless the white person, unless they see a white person admit to it. Even though they still been doing the same tricks. Say they speak with forked tongue, reneging on treaties. Ain't nothing changed. But you know, a couple of people, man, they were just talking about, man, you need to go on back to your, you know, you need to, since you care so much. But I would say, hey, he proved that he don't care because he said if you care so much, stay. Well, he ain't staying. They don't care. And he said his folks got a victim mentality. He projecting it onto us. We got a fighting spirit of overcoming and resistance to tyranny and evil and oppression. Cognitive dissonance is a disease. Said those folks live in a bubble. Why didn't Patrick stay in his homeland and fix it? Why did he flee? Great question. This is why I get upset when people say I didn't know what was happening. It don't matter if you. It's too late in the day. If you didn't make a commitment to a lifetime of self improvement and learning, and then somebody else got to come in and try to teach you something you don't know, and you're not humble enough to be open minded, attach and listen, or actually do some research, then hey, I guess that's easy for me to say. I'm looking at this here. He's like I said, man. These people, they like you say, they have to kind of bash black people because if black people prosper in large numbers, like I said, they have no excuse. Right now, it's like when you try to put somebody out the house and they want to make every kind of excuse. Well, you know, and what if I just or hey, well, they try to argue to stay around. Basically, he trying to he trying to negotiate. They don't want to go back. That's the you see the one black dude say, I don't want to go back to Haiti. I ain't going back to Haiti. Like they despise their homeland and then try to shit on us. try to they try to finesse us out of America basically. Ain't America ugly? It's like when the females be hating, trying to say a dude ugly or something, or don't mess with him when they really trying to mess with the dude. So, well, yeah, it's this Patrick Bet David, man. Objectively, like I say, I mean, both of these guys. Sometimes I feel like they got some good information that you might be able to use. But as far as somebody really having a pulse on America and being a visionary, Patrick Bet David is not that. But they never really want to talk about. did your family when they came over here? How much assistance did they get from the government or some of these agencies? Because don't tell me you did it on your own and you got assistance. Because basically you came with nothing and you came up here. This is a come up. You know what I'm saying? This a come up to them. If you, I mean, like our homeless people live better than them. Our poor people live better than them. So yeah, they'll come over here and struggle, and they try to say they doing so great, and some of them might even, uh, b- become, I guess, financially free, but they know they'll never be able to really. Because the thing is, they can't really control this country because they couldn't build and fix their own country. They need to set things right, and they refuse to set things right because they have a fleeing mentality. I would never want to stand shoulder to shoulder with some people that already don't abandon their brothers and sisters back home. Says I wouldn't even worry about wanting to argue with these people. Just get right to the point with them and ask what they gonna do if it is.